better on it, we'll call.
Okay.
You know.
So we shouldn't be expecting a check is what I was
No,
curious.
no,
Okay.
no, I wouldn't say that there's a check.
Okay, so just make sure it's taken out of the final cost. That's all.
Okay, move on to the clerk's report, Judy Kosloski.
I have nothing.
And move on to my reports, if I understand the meeting. The Township Ambulance Authority budget, or audit, sorry, is been completed, and there's a copy in the office if anybody wants to look at it. And the Ambulance Authority is in good financial shape. We'll be going out for renewal of the millage, actually an increase of 1 mil, not an increase of 1 mil, it's 0.65 now, and the increase of 0.35. Antrim County Sheriff's Department report was 114 events, and that is also in the office if anybody's interested in looking at it. And that's all I have, except I'm sure a lot of people have been on 624. The blacktop is there, and there's still shoulder work, but as far as it looked good, and I didn't see any problems with it.
They're still adding more blacktop to it, right? They're not, I don't think they're done with the blacktop, are they?
No, they got one more left to put on.
Yeah.
The finish coat.
And they had, some of the radiuses there.
Oh, yeah.
But at least it's not.
Yeah,
not
no,
gravel
it's
anymore.
much smoother.
So they're definitely moving on.
A lot better.
Yeah.
And I know you were that way.
Ask the guy that drives down it how much more they like that.
That's all I have. Move on to committee reports. Waste receiving, Button got in and added some gravel and made it a lot more convenient for, to get in and get the roll-off loaded. We do have one additional roll-off load we had. We're getting so much material in that just couldn't keep up with it, so we have one additional roll-off. You have anything to add for waste receiving?
I don't.
No,
Okay, move on to cemetery.
Everything's going good. The guys are down there mowing. They've approached, Tony has actually approached the township about maybe purchasing a new lawnmower, because he says he's not real good on lawnmowers. I'll just give you a real quick brief of what they have. They got a 2003 Sears Craftsman lawnmower. Got ungodly amount of hours on it. Reality is, it's a residential lawnmower for commercial, and it's junk. They got a 2005 Sears Craftsman, the exact same way. Got over, it's just absolute junk. So we'll kind of forget about them two lawnmowers. We got a 2011 John Deere mower. I'm sure everybody's seen it or in the township. It's a 292A 0-turn. It's got 320 hours on it. My understanding is it was right close to, probably shouldn't give out numbers, right around $11,000 when you purchased it?
That was with...
That's with all the equipment on it.
With the equipment that come with it. Yep.
They have a Cub Cadet 200 0-turn. This tractor has 230 hours on it. And he tells me the front bearings are all wore out on it. And then of course we have the Kubota tractor, which that's got 781 hours on it, and that's a 4,000 hour machine anyway, so. But they've approached the board and me wondering if we would buy a new lawnmower. So I would kind of like to get some feedback on that issue from the board. I'd give everybody a copy of it, and I would like you all to look at it, and if possible, maybe come back next month and tell me how you guys feel. And in the meantime, while you're looking at these and trying to make a decision, We need to talk about the Cub Cadet. Do we want to put the money into it to repair it?
What's the cost?
I do not have a cost. All it says is all the bearings are wore out. I can ask Tony that and he can give us a cost.
Yeah, I would think we definitely want to keep that and repair it anyway,
So-
even if we,
Oh, definitely. It's no good if it's not repaired. We know that.
we have enough equipment, as far as I feel, as long as the weather cooperates. But we get a year like this year, where there were so many rainy days, they got so far behind. I mean, it would be nice to have another mower.
Can I-
We still only have, 3 guys working though. I mean, do they all need to be on a mower at the same time? Like,
Right.
visit their weed whipping and other things?
Well, you know, I'll go back to your 2011 mower that you bought, that big John Deere that we bought with all the attachments. Reality is, that's a 2,000-hour machine, because that's a big commercial lawnmower. So the odds of that one breaking down, you're only averaging 130 hours a year on that tractor. So that tractor's got another 10 years on it. Do you need another tractor? Because the tractor Tony prefers is the same tractor that you bought in 2011 for a zero turn.
Well, that's what I was wondering is, I mean, will it actually be utilized if we have a third tractor enough to make it worthwhile? You know what I mean? Like, if
Yes,
we
I know what you
have
mean,
2
yeah.
working tractors and 3 workers, you got 2 people on a tractor and you still got 1 person either weed whipping or whatever. Is putting a third tractor up there gonna be that beneficial? Because they're still gonna have to weed whip at the end, you know, so I think it's probably more time management than it is of
Well,
needing an extra.
yeah, you know, the Cub Cadet's in dire need of repair.
Right.
Let's be real, when they bought the Cub Cadet, it is not a commercial grade mower.
Okay.
It's a residential zero turn mower. And unfortunately, it was an inexpensive mower at the time when they bought it. Parts are wearing out on it. Should, you know, my opinion is, yeah, definitely, like Stan said, we need to repair it and keep it going.
Mhm.
But do we need to buy another one of the big, expensive mowers
No,
at that point?
I
And
can't
that's
see why
why-
we need to.
And I would encourage everybody on the board to at least keep an open mind to it. Talk to Tony, see how Tony feels about it. And like I told him when I talked to him, I said, you talked me into why you need this lawnmower. That's what I said to Tony.
And what was his reason? Just like,
He's got a whole bunch of them, so that's why I just assume you guys would actually go to him and talk to him first. And we think about this, because of talking to Stan a little bit, I understand there is money to purchase a mower for the cemeteries, am I right, Stan?
yeah, we have enough money in that.
So- And I would like to put it as an agenda item for next month.
I have none.
Another thing that happened was, and we don't want that, I told them not to do it anymore, but to get that mowed for the 4th of July with all the rain, they only had, and they had the 1 day off. One of our workers unloaded his mower, and I mean, they went through that, had the entire thing done in 1 day. Well, I wasn't aware of it until I go down there, and then I just told them that we can't, you know, I mean, we can't expect somebody to be using their own equipment, which,
so currently is the Cub Cadet inoperable?
It's just, no, it's not enough, it needs repairing.
Right.
You can still mow with it, it needs repairing. And fortunately, and it does need to be repaired ASAP.
Right.
So they do have 2 mowers. If that 2011 machine was, if he come to me and said, Sam, it's got 1,400 hours on it, then to me, I would really be pushing
Right.
a new lawnmower, a good commercial zero turn. But I have a tough time selling that to the public when like you said,
That's,
we've only got 3 employees.
yeah,
And you have one really good lawnmower and one mower that somebody else can use to mow grass with. I mean, we do it all the time around town. We keep one real good commercial mower, we keep one other mower that is a backup, so 2 guys can go out and mow at one time.
so,
But I told Tony I would present this to the board tonight.
do we need to do anything to get the Cub Cadet fixed? Do we need a motion or anything for that to be
No,
fixed?
no,
or-
that would just,
Is that just,
that would just be.
maintenance, okay.
For maintenance, right, and there's a money in the budget.
Right, yeah, just wanna make sure that we didn't have to
Yeah.
wait another month
Right,
to
yeah,
get
no,
anything done.
no, As far as I'm concerned, we ordered parts for it.
Did you do
Repair
the
it, get it
repair?
going, on that rainy day like Stan was talking about, is when they should have pulled the mower in and rebuild it.
Did he do it?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
oh, yes, yes, he can do about anything you want on that equipment. But I would like to keep him open mind, talk to him and put it as an agenda item for next month, if that's possible.
Oh, sure, and
Yeah.
we just, you know, I mean, everybody can look at it and vote it up or down, that's all. And will we get by without it? Yes. I mean, that's not, but, also you have to look at, we gave them a lot of additional, mowing. I mean, you've got 2 cemeteries, that take care of this, which is a lot of mowing, you've got the fire department.
But I don't know if you guys are aware of it or not, we don't have a trailer that will haul 2 commercial lawnmowers.
Well, you wouldn't, I mean, you'd have one mowing here, I mean, you wouldn't take 2 out to do the other.
Then I wouldn't see what the use for 2 mowers is if you weren't gonna put the 2 together.
Well,
To get something done quicker, especially in your scenario, if you had a rain day, you know, a rainy week for 3 days and you had to get it mowed, you'd wanna take both mowers out, get them whacked out and be done with that so you can move on to the other
Well,
project.
you'd have one mowing here, and then you take one to the other cemetery and the other places. But I mean, that's, I agree, talk it over, and,
And talk-
I'm just presenting some argument. We can look at it for it, and definitely there's a lot against it, so
Certainly.
everybody give them a chance. I think it was a good idea, and we just, again, next month vote it up or down.
That's my report, sir.
Well, do you want to mention, about, DEQ?
Oh, I figured I'd let you do that in
No.
the old business somewhere.
Okay, well, why don't you cover it, or I'll cover it here?
You go ahead and then I'll just
Okay.
chime in on something.
We looked into filling in, the ditch between Morton's property and our property, and, I think that, 2 months ago, I had a report, and, then the other side of the street, the road's washing out, and it's, the culvert is washing out over the top, right next to the road, and then also, Gary Martin's driveway is kind of settling, and we were thinking about possibly cracking that in, or putting a new culvert. We'd actually put cordate in there, and the DEQ come out, and he said to do that they want a 6-foot culvert put underneath the road, and the old culvert that's underneath the railroad track removed, and the price would just be, township could afford it, so that's, and then also, Sam did talk to, Tip of the Mitt, and see if any grants were available to do anything for it, and there isn't, so that's it. It's just pretty much dry until something happens that forces, maybe the road commission to do something. So that's all we have on that, and, anything on the facilities?
They're gonna start the carpeting last Wednesday of this month, and everything, after lunch will come in here, so this room was completely unusable till August. That's it.
Any other committee reports? Not, there's no old business, we'll move on to new business. Access site on Intermediate Lake Drive. We have one lake access site which there was a complaint on, and Andrew has some pictures here. What they're doing is instead of coming out straight with the dock, the owner that's next to this piece of property, he's planted it to an area where, like from the lake, it's hard to even see the access site, and naturally these are fire rescue sites, and he's bringing a wave runner in from the side And it's obvious that he's trying to, he's approaching on that lake access site. And if we allow this to go year after year, then it can create a problem. So, I mean, my suggestion would be that we, township send him a letter and see if they respond to that with some type of, what he will do to, and again on this, trustee Godwin, who's retired, told him last year that he was going, anchoring the dock on our, lake access property, and he did it again this year, so he has to be well aware of what he's doing.
This one's a can of worms, isn't it?
So, if we, if there's ever a fire of a boat and one explode like happened on Torch Lake, and Bill had to get his fire department in there with equipment and bring people out. I mean, we have to keep these open.
What about that tree?
That tree.
Is it in the way?
I don't think so. I mean, Bill would be able to work around that.
Well, let's send him a certified letter.
So in the same token, that tells me that boat ain't an issue either. If he worked around that tree.
Bob Wilson.
Yeah, Stan, I talked to Bill in January, and he told me, of course, to wait till the April meeting or something about that access site. And it was basically in regards to handicap accessibility. And it's just not only handicap, it's any person can't get down that bank, pulling a fish in or pulling a little ice boat or anything else. And, we'd sure like to see that thing be utilized. And especially me, I'm right across the road from it, but I can't walk down that bank. Even just pulling an ice boat. But on the other hand, this gentleman keeps encroaching upon the public lake access. And like you said, last year was the same thing, and it just keeps getting repetition for him. I think basically just go out there in the morning and slap the fine on him and say it's $500 a day.
Well, I think we should start with a letter, and then after that, we'll turn it over to the attorney. No, I agree with you. We can't let it go.
It took too long to get them back, Stan.
No, I know. You were in on all the lawsuits that happened on that one prior.
I agree with that.
Right?
I agree with that. Township writes a letter, and if we have to, we'll refer it over.
We'll turn it over to the attorney.
Let them handle it.
Another thing, when they rewrote this law, instead of a municipal civil infraction, now they're a misdemeanor. And with the misdemeanor, that's stated right with your record. So I'd say let's start with a letter, if we can get a motion to do that, and then if we don't get any response from them,
Well, how about in the letter, give him a deadline, say July 30th. If he's not in compliance by July 30th, start calling the sheriff on the next day, and then, it's $500 a day, and make sure we put in subsection 4, so he knows the penalty, and that way then we give him 2 weeks still, and then, from there on out, it's his choice whether or not to keep it there, because I don't think just telling him, because this guy had a history, right, Bob?
Pardon?
This guy's had a history, right, of putting his dock on the...
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not an issue of not knowing, because he's been told numerous times. Am I correct in that?
Pardon?
He's been told numerous times, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, but getting back to the site itself, you guys, Sam, have you been out there?
Yeah.
It's a sheer drop. And, if the public gonna use it, you've gotta make some kind of a safety feature out there.
But I also know what we went through just to make a swimming beach down to the park.
Making a what?
A swimming beach down to our park where we didn't have the straight drop-off ledge.
Yeah.
And I remember the hassle we went through to try to remove that straight down drop to get a tapered slope into the water's edge. And that was a nightmare. Mr. Cotler worked on the permit for about 3 years just to get him to let us do that. And that was a public swimming beach. So,
Yeah, this is,
I mean,
it's well maintenance by the township, all of them are, except for, you know, it doesn't fit any handicap or safety at all.
we can do some investigating on it, Bob, and see if there is something the DNR, because that's who it's gonna go back to, the DNR and DEQ.
Yeah,
It
I'll
would allow
talk
us
to
to
her
do
too.
something like
Well,
that.
and we just had the experience.
With what we went, remember what we went through down here on Jerry Martinson's culvert?
Right, I mean, it was it's utterly ridiculous.
The,
You had a 24 inches working in there, and now you want a 6 foot. I mean,
it's,
Plus you have to pay to even get them to come out.
we paid $250 just to get them to come out and look at it.
to tell us no,
Mhm.
so.
Well, I'll make a motion that we send them a certified letter, include the DNR, the legislative, and go from there. If he doesn't, with the deadline of July 30th.
I'll support that. Any further discussion?
We have 2 addresses on file for him, so probably send a letter to each. One would probably be good in case he's in Florida.
I'll send I'll send a certified and then a regular.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Maybe call the roll on this one.
Kosloski, yes. Mullens,
Yes,
Smith,
Yes.
Bean.
Yes. Okay, now report on trash issue. I don't know if you were gonna work with Melissa on this, Sam, or Melissa, you going to speak to it, or?
That's what we were just gonna say, is that Sam and I, we do have some data collected. We don't have enough data collected and a whole, you know, plan and presentation, so we thought with your patience that we might be able to come back in the spring with an actual date and plan, and let's do it.
but in the meantime, we will keep communicating
Yep.
back and forth, and other residents with me, and I'll keep communications with Stanley on this issue, and see if maybe there isn't some way we can come up with a cleanup in the spring of the year where the township and the village both be involved in it. You know, I really don't know what the answer is, but I know there's a lot of people that do want it.
But on the flip side of that, we have the dump open 2 days a week.
And I understand that, you're a mile and a half away. But now there's other avenues we can pursue here that may not cost anybody anything.
And that's really what it is. We just need more time to look at everything. We weren't ready to come back a month later with a plan to actually execute. We just need some more time to look at every option there is and make sure that it's something that everyone can agree to.
You wanna put it on for March of next year?
Well, it ain't gonna die, I can tell you
It's-
that.
yeah,
The
it won't-
issue's
it's
not
not a
gonna
dead
die
issue,
between
but-
now and spring, because there's so many people complaining.
The only thing that we do, I mean, you're well aware of, you know, we have access for building material, and we do subsidize that up there. And now, I don't know right now, but the last time I looked, if you have building material and you were looking for a place to dump it, you had to go all the way to Kalkaska or into Charlevoix County. There wasn't another place, and I don't know if that's changed. I'm not aware of it, I haven't researched it. But again, we subsidize that, and when you figure the amount of gas that people save by having that available to them every week of the year. Also, we've got now where we take metal for no charge, which has always been a big expense, somebody getting rid of a washing machine or something, and so again, we're subsidizing that every year, so I mean, that's that's something else that, when you're looking into it, you have to take in consideration.
Well, we're taking into consideration all of it. We are one of the only townships that don't supply it. Let's keep that in mind. And we're also looking at maybe possibly charging a small fee, because right now there's lots of people, let's admit it, got a mattress or couch sitting behind their house and they can't afford to get rid of it. You know, a mattress up to the transfer station's $25, $15, $25. And the reason being is because they don't compact because they're made out of springs. They compact them down to this quarter of a cubic yard and they fold back out to this yard or so. And couches are the same way. And anyways, we're just checking into it. We want everybody keeping, I'll go back to what I said about Tony on the lawnmower, an open mind, and let's pursue other avenues where maybe we can get the village involved in this at the same time and try to recoup a little bit of the cost back where both parties only pay a little bit.
Sure.
There's all kinds of options available that I
We
think.
just wanted to, you know, of course, thank you for being open-minded, but just recognize that we couldn't pull this off in a month. It's a bigger task than what one would think it is, you know, because we want to talk to other townships, figure out a plan. Maybe there is a way to get, you know, subsidized or grants or who knows. But just to have the time to look at it and keep it on the agenda and open mind for later.
Sure, I mean, that's what we're here for. I mean, the board is for the citizens, and we'll talk about anything. Again, you have to look at it too, that we're the only township in Antrim County that offers this service of having these dumpsters up there where you don't, again, drive to another county to get rid of it.
Right.
Pat, did you have a comment?
Well, I was curious, Sam, what are some of the complaints that you're getting about this?
Well, Pat, all I can tell you is when the village did a yearly spring cleanup day, I can't tell you how many people from the township I had to refuse because they had stuff they wanted to haul in.
Well, and right now in the village, there's across from my house, there's a mattress and a big entertainment center, and 2 streets over, there's a couch and a chair and a pile of tires and.
And you know, we can go back to Chelsea Lane with this issue if we were to offer something like that. I remember them people coming in here every month complaining about the stuff. Al and Betty Burnett, when they drive down, have to look at that one guy's property. At least we've offered that guy an opportunity to haul that stuff, where it may cost him nothing or a minimal cost to bring it to us where we will take it to haul it away.
He doesn't have anything he wants to get rid of.
Well, let's not say that. Maybe the gentleman can't afford that. We don't know that. At least if we offer something like that to the people, at least when they come to this board and complain because it didn't get cleaned up, this board can say, we've tried at that point, instead of saying, no, we're not even interested in it.
You wouldn't be able to take tires anyways, though.
But there's other stuff
Yeah,
out there.
but there is
Keep
a
that in mind.
DEQ grant for tires, but I'm saying,
Right. There's other stuff
any
out there.
yearly cleanup,
Right.
you can't take tires.
Sam?
But I'm just using that guy for examples of.
There, out behind my place, there's a 2-track running up there. Last year I cleaned up a mattress, broken shower glass, all kinds of trash that somebody dropped there. If you're gonna have to clean up once or twice a year, probably once a year, that's not gonna stop people from doing that because they're dumping that just to get it out of their place.
That goes back to we're all stewards of our land. If that's the way we feel we need to treat the land, you and me will not treat our land that way, correct? They will. So that goes back to stewardship. How much education do we have out there? Obviously not enough for who's ever going down that road and you're picking it up at.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of education, I think it's a matter of somebody doesn't have personal responsibility.
But you may be able to at least offer that to them if you ever catch them and say, how come you didn't use it? We do offer it for, you know what I mean, for a reduced rate or free or whatever it is.
Tim?
Tim, you've got a remark?
Yeah, just one point. When you say the township should pay part and the village should say part, I've already heard this comment. The village residents then pay twice. Because every village resident pays a township tax. So just keep that in mind. If it's something the township considers doing, if you ask the village and the share, you're gonna have residents to say, I already paid the township. And now you want me as a village resident to pay again.
Every village resident is a township taxpayer.
So there's all these little issues. And
Let's
that's
keep
just
that in
one I've
mind.
already heard, just so you.
That's why the
talk
townships
about
are the
that.
one offering this and not the villages. So,
Well, we're just hoping there's a way, some way, somehow, with the village, with the township, low cost, no cost, minimal cost, some way, and we're just asking for the time to try to figure it out.
I'll put you on the March 2015 agenda.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, anyone, public comment?
I got a real quick one. On the lawnmower issue, I hope as you talk about it, I hope the village DPW and the township DPW have a talk, because it seems like between the two, if we have 4 lawnmowers, we can help each other out on rainy days, before we spend $10,000 on a lawnmower. So let's, Sam and Tony and everybody, just have that conversation, please.
It'd be a lot cheaper to rent a lawnmower for a day than.
Or to borrow the village,
Or
if
to
we
say-
don't need it on every,
That's
you know what I'm saying? Let's just,
Hey, you got
we
a
have
guy you can
4
spare up
between
to
the
help
two.
him for
Yeah.
4 hours today?
Yeah.
But then if the village equipment breaks down, who's gonna pay for it?
The village,
Township?
the village,
Well, no,
and the
that's what I'm
township will
saying,
pay
if
for
we
the
pay
township.
some hourly rate.
You can work the same as mutual aid from other organizations, police organizations, fire.
Right now, Tony borrows my loader, and if my loader breaks down on him, I'm gonna pay to fix it. That's reality.
Because it would've broken on us. I mean,
Because
that's the way to look at it.
on
We
me
hope they don't
to
abuse
use
it.
at the
We
same
trust
time,
them
so
not
it
to.
doesn't matter.
If it breaks, it breaks.
Whoever owns it's gonna repair it. That's reality. It's just the 2 DPWs helping each other in a pinch is all it is.
Any further comment? No further public comment? Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.